Hi, I'm Susan Thomas. I'm the director of the Butler School of Music.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So you've been here a year now. What do you think of Austin?
Just a year. Austin's amazing. I haven't actually lived in a city that has this much going on at such a high level in so many different sectors of the arts.
Yeah, the live music capital of the world.
Live music capital of the world, not enough hours in the day.
Yeah. And what do you think of Butler? How has it been this first year? Kind of whirlwind?
Oh yeah, it's been intense, but amazing. The level here, and I've said this before. I knew this was a really amazing music school, but I am daily and weekly shocked at just how strong our students are, at the achievements of our faculty. It's a really exciting place.
Yeah, yeah. And it seems like we've kind of come out of COVID. It seems like this was the year that we've really kind of back to full power. So it's exciting.
So. I wasn't here. Obviously, I wasn't here during COVID, but it felt like this past year was the time when everybody was sort of fully committed to being on the ground and bringing everybody back. And there's certainly a lot of energy to accompany that.
Yes.
Watching our ensembles grow in size. I think the Longhorn Band had 405 students last year, and
Wow.
It's poised to grow again.
Wow.
So watching, when we start bursting a little at the seams with student interest, not just for our ensembles that majors perform in, but ensembles that, have participation from all across campus, that's when we're doing it right.
Yeah, it does feel like we're bursting at the seams. It's amazing how many shows we sell out. How many concerts are just sold out, which is unusual for academia. So
yeah.
So when you first got here, I mean, it's been, I'm sure, a whirlwind, right? You got to learn so much. What do you think your last big accomplishments are, or just Butler's big accomplishments this last year?
One of them would, of course, be the wind ensemble's trip to New York and our performance in Carnegie Hall this past June. Which was just a tremendous success, and to a full house and very enthusiastic house with a lot of burnt orange in the audience, which is great to see in Manhattan.
Yeah.
A really stellar opera season last year that included a staged work of a student composed opera, Maria, by composer Josiah Garza. I think in some ways that collaboration, it says a lot about the Butler Opera Center and its openness to new works and new opera and working with young composers. But it says a lot about the Butler School, because you don't put on a work like that with an undergraduate composer, all student singers. And that's not the project of one faculty member or one unit. That's a school-wide effort. And so, it was mentoring on the compositional side, on orchestration, working with students in languages that they don't always sing in, right?
Yeah.
Students don't always perform. It was sort of a mixed Spanish-English libretto, and students don't often necessarily sing in Spanish on the operatic stage at the collegiate level. Singers in the Opera Center this year also performed in Russian, which also often doesn't happen.
That was really impressive.
It was. That doesn't often happen. Those kinds of things, they take collaboration from almost every aspect of the school, right? The faculty who are preparing their students to play in the orchestra, the conductors, the stage designers, the coaches. And if we didn't have that kind of work together ethic in the school, we couldn't do that sort of thing. I could list so many names on the academic side, major publications that came out.
It feels like every week there's a book coming out.
It's just an incredibly dynamic place, but it's also an incredibly supportive place. And so I think that's the thing that I've been most gratified by since I've been here, is how much the faculty support each other and support each other's students and are willing to go that extra step to make sure that a student gets what they need.
I didn't get to see that opera. I wish I had. I saw there was the Ukrainian opera that was sung in French,
Yes.
and that was unbelievable. All undergrads and just like a
All
true, yeah,
undergrads,
passion project. And
entirely volunteer. So that
yeah,
actually was not a production of the Butler Opera Center. That was a production that one of our voice faculty, Misha Smigelski, put together with students who wanted to try something new and interesting, and to get to sing an earlier opera, learn a new style. Yeah, it was tremendous.
and one amazing thing, a big accomplishment that I think everyone's going to be so excited about that's happening right now. The building's being painted.
I was going
right?
to say this, and I was like,
Okay,
should I say
it's
that
super
I'm
exciting.
so excited about paint?
Yes, yes.
I'm so excited about paint.
It looks so new. It's like you
know.
walk down the halls, it's just like unbelievable. So that's amazing. So what do you have planned for this year? What are your kind of hopes and dreams? Or maybe this year, what's your 5 years? Any big things on the horizon?
Yeah, we have some curricular things on the horizon. We're looking to develop a music minor. This is something that has been in great demand from across campus, and so we'll spend the fall semester working out the details to put in that proposal.
That'd be huge.
It would be great. We teach a lot of students from across campus, but we don't, other than having the class on their transcript, we don't have a way for those students to really document their commitment to the study of music in any way other than taking some classes. And so I think this is a long overdue recognition of the amount of talent that regularly comes through our doors from other units, and particularly comes through our ensembles, through the bands, through the choirs, and our world music ensembles. We have a lot of students that really contribute to what we do here and fill our halls. They're one of the reasons we sell out.
Yeah.
And it would be great to be able to give them a more structured experience, and also allow their work to really be recognized through the minor.
There's a lot of creativity here. I was shocked at how the new mariachi professor just hired, the excitement around that. That is so exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, Greg Cavazos, we're thrilled.
Yeah.
So he's coming to us from Lubbock, Texas, and already a well-known name in mariachi circles in the state. So, we're very excited to see what happens with the Mariachi Paredes this year under his leadership.
Do you see music schools just in general, maybe not Butler, but music schools in general, becoming more kind of diversified, not just classical music, but having things like mariachi? I mean, I know jazz has kind of been a staple for a while, but
I think music schools are becoming more and more aware of the industry and the creative arts economy that our students are going into. And we need to be preparing students to enter that space. And so part of being able to enter that space is, being able to, as a musician, adapt and perform in different genres of music, right? Part of it is understanding the industry on a kind of, how do I work as an entrepreneurial artist who is basically I'm my own business?
Yeah.
How do we prepare students to do that? How do we prepare students to understand the technologies that they are now much more expected to be fluent in, right? Even musicians that perform on acoustic instruments and intend in the classical space, they are now expected to be able to do their own recordings and submit a high level audition or make a little music video or things like that. So how do we leverage the opportunities that exist on this campus and make sure that our students have the time and the space and the access to get what they need to be really successful?
Yeah, even applying for an academic job, you need to know how to do all that, do all the recordings and everything.
Yeah. So those kinds of things, I think it's not so much is every school going to have this kind of alternative ensemble as much as it is, I think we all really realize that the most successful musicians are the ones that can step in when they get that call, and they're adaptable. They're adaptable stylistically. They're adaptable as collaborators, right? One thing that I'm really excited about for this year in January, we will be starting what I hope will be a annual large scale performance off campus. I think Austin has changed quite a bit over the last 10 years and certainly over the last 5. And I think the city has a sizable concert going audience, even classical concert going audience, that does not know we exist. They don't know that UT Austin has one of the best music schools in the country. And honestly, even if they did, they can't fit into a lot of our concerts because we're selling out, right?
Yeah.
So we need that space to kind of meet the community where it is. So in January, we'll be doing our first concert in the Long Center. It'll be a concert by the Wind Ensemble. They'll be performing Circus Maximus, and
which was commissioned for them.
Which was commissioned
like 20 years ago or so.
Right. Yeah. So Circus Maximus commissioned for us and composed by John Corigliano. And because of that concert, we actually decided, and the faculty decided, to have a sort of ongoing festival of John Corigliano's work across our season.
Oh, exciting.
So so the Butler Opera Center is doing Ghost of Versailles.
Nice.
In the winter. Farhad Kudyev and the UT Symphony Orchestra is doing some Corigliano works in their spring performance. So audiences will have an opportunity to really explore Corigliano's work. And the plan is for him to come spring semester to at least one of those performances and meet with students and stuff. So I think, the performing off campus, we should be in the Long Center at least once a year moving forward. We are bringing back our holiday concert this winter in December, and so it'll be here in Bates with a kind of a. We can't get every ensemble in the school on stage, but a collection of our
in Bates.
In Bates.
Wow.
So a collection of our ensembles will be there, and we're trying to get both traditional approaches to that sort of concert, but also really some music that is appropriate, but maybe hasn't been heard in that kind of context before. So offering something traditional, but also something a little different.
Which can be hard in like a holiday concert.
Yeah, but there are a lot of holidays that happen that
there
time
are a lot
of year.
Of holidays, yes.
And so I know there's an interest on the faculty to really to blend both expectations with some new works, which is very Butler School.
It's like every concert I go to, there's always new works.
Yeah.
It's shocking how much of what they play is new works. Is that unusual for music school?
In my experience, yeah.
Yeah.
At the level that's happening here,
yeah.
Yes.
And why do you think that? Is that because we're in Austin? Is that just the vibe here in Butler? Or where does that come from? I assume you didn't do that all.
I did not do that. Yeah. No, that pre-existed me. And I remember looking at past programs when I was considering applying for this job and being really pleasantly surprised. I think that's, my impression is that that's faculty driven. It's student driven. The students want to perform new music. I think a lot of that is probably due to my sort of permanent predecessor, Mary Ellen Poole, who also kind of hosted a lot of faculty discussions about, as a school, what kind of repertoire do we want to be known for. But I think that our faculty are all promoters.
They are
of new music.
Yeah.
So I think it really comes out of that. How do our faculty, who are all active performers, what do they think about the the musical sphere in which we all live, and how does one make a living? And one of those things is really being a curious,
Yes.
learning musician, right? And the chestnuts are great for a reason,
Yeah.
but there's a lot out there, and I'm really happy, right, that our students get to do both.
Yeah.
They get that opportunity. They gave the most exciting performance of Tchaikovsky 4 last year that
Yes.
I've ever heard.
Yes.
Like it was, yeah, I saw you
Yes.
there. It was
You did?
like
Okay.
edge of the
Yes,
seat,
yes,
right?
yes.
Like just kind of mind blowing.
Yes.
I'd never had that experience listening to that piece. So they do that, but they also, right, are performing world premieres, and they are working directly with composers of new works. And that same orchestra that did Tchaik 4, in December did the world premiere of Russell Podgorski's
Yes.
concerto for steel drum.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but I wish I had.
It was amazing, and a very difficult piece, sonorities that orchestral students particularly are not used to having to balance with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we're training musicians to be flexible,
Mm-hmm.
right, and adaptable, and to embrace the new. And I think that's one of the most exciting things.
Which is Austin, which makes sense
Yeah.
why we'd be trying to get more into the community, right? I mean, this has to be one of the most accepting audiences of new music anywhere, right? They really embrace it.
In new music, in sort of the concert new music space, Austin is this kind of underdog
Yes.
place where there's so much happening that isn't really being recognized nationally. I mean, the artists that are doing that work here are very nationally recognized, but I think it's a kind of a secret that Austin is this hotbed for new music performance, that I would love to be less secret.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Looking at our young musicians here in the school, right? Like the Zed Quartet, our saxophone quartet that just,
Yes.
just won an award at the Fish-Off competition in chamber music. It really, people are starting to realize, right, these repeated things that are coming out of this city. There's a new music festival here in Austin called There Be Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
That's founded by Butler School alums. And
yeah, it's like 90% Butler alums.
And it's almost, like if you
Yeah.
look at the musicians, you look at the roster, it's a living history of the last 15 years of graduates of the school and current students as well. And these are musicians that are now very sought after, active, exciting performers. And that festival is developing the way that it is. I mean, I think that's one of the festivals that is really to be watched.
Yes.
In this town, right? I think it really has legs, and they're doing something different than is happening maybe anywhere else, except maybe with the exception of like maybe something like a new music box
Mm-hmm.
or something. They're really doing exciting.
Well, they do it in a very
work.
Austin way there.
In a very Austin
Yes.
way. It's
There's
really
a cowboy
exciting.
pole.
Yeah, it's super
yeah.
exciting and very authentic to like who we are as a musical community and as a broader community of people who love to go listen to music.
Yeah.
So
how do you foster this kind of creative hub here without getting in the way, but still fostering it? That must be a difficult balance.
I mean, I think it'd be a lot of hubris to say that you foster something that's already there and is really amazing. But I think
continue fostering.
I guess. I mean, my goal is to help it resonate, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think we partner. Here in the Butler School, we partner with those things. We make space. Hopefully we can make space and help resonate and help increase the profile of some of those, especially the sort of town gown type collaborations.
Yeah.
because There Be Monsters is not a Butler School
Yeah.
event, right? It's their own thing. But to sort of be partners on the journey with them, in the same way, like we are close partners with KMFA radio,
Yes.
right? We have
2 shows.
we have 2 radio shows
Yes.
there. One of which, Live from the Butler School is narrated by one of our graduate students, Tyler Ehrlich.
We
So
record all the promos right there. Right
yeah,
where you're sitting.
and
Yeah.
really, I think it's really exciting too that to have that really important work of speaking to our broader community and trusting that to a graduate student, that kind of professional experience that he's getting. And he's incredibly talented and capable in all of those things.
Yes.
But it's I think it says something about the school,
Mhm.
that a student who is of the school, right, who's
Yes.
in the school and really can speak for the school is actually speaking for the
Yeah.
school. But with KMFA, our students and faculty perform in their
Yes.
Mason Gross studios all the time. We really view them as part of an ecosystem that makes music in Austin really exciting.
Yeah.
And so it's obviously we're not fostering KMFA, but we recognize that symbiosis, and I think that is something that, as the director who's new to Austin, and last year, because I was new, I went to everything last year. I
Oh.
went to every performance.
We have a
and
lot of performances too.
We do.
It's crazy.
We have a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I loved every minute of it, but it was a lot. And this year, one of my goals is to get out a little bit more and really get to know those partners better, and to understand better how the symbiosis that we have with these partner organizations could be even more productive.
And we have lots of little ones like the Mozarts, right? We have a jazz ensemble that goes
Wednesday,
there.
every
Yeah.
Wednesday in the loft, I think it's called, the back room at Mozart's, which is fantastic for our jazz students to just get that experience playing out on a weekly basis. It's not the same to play in that kind of more club-like environment than on a stage.
Yeah.
And so, Diego Rivera, the director of the Jazz Studies program, really kind of hit gold with that collaboration.
And it's so great because there's so many places you go where there just isn't that appetite in the community for that. Right? If you go to Iowa or somewhere, they have lots of other things going for them, but they don't have that vibrant live music scene where people are going to go out on a Tuesday or a Monday and listen to it.
People show up here.
Yeah, they do.
I think one of the other things that's really exciting here is not just the amount of amazing performance, but the amount of incredible research and scholarship that's happening here. The Center for American Music, I know, is planning a conference for the spring, but I'm actually hosting a conference in September, in early September. It's called Translating the Field, and I'm a musicologist, ethnomusicologist by previous trade, and in my own research, and pedagogy, I've been really concerned with the fact that we train our graduate students in ethnomusicology to go out, usually someplace else, often in another language, and we don't really take the issue of language seriously when we teach, and or when we translate works, or when we if we've been doing interviews, like if I, as a scholar, I'm doing interviews in the field and I have it all recorded and I do a transcription and then I translate it into English to publish. We've never really taken that process of translation, whether it's like translation in your head or interpreting, like if you're interpreting for someone or if you're translating a text. we never really take that seriously as a discipline. It just kind of happens, you know. It's oh, just pass your language exams, you'll be fine.
Okay.
And so this conference is about really thinking, like, putting some theory and some method behind it.
And a perfect place for it. I mean, there are other places as diverse as Austin, but it's pretty diverse. So many
Mhm.
different languages.
So many.
I know when I
Yeah.
take my kids to the playground, it's always shocking how many different languages you hear and how often you'll hear Russian, which you wouldn't think of in Austin, but like it's so common and just so common to hear so many different
Tech
languages.
sector. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a wonderful. I mean, Austin's a wonderful place, and it's been a much nicer summer. I'll give it that.
it's been a beautiful
It's
summer.
been
Yes,
amazing.
yes.
Yeah.
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 What
But
would you recommend to students coming in? Like maybe this is their
oh,
first year at Butler.
that's such a great question.
Yeah.
One of the things I guess I would say to new students, to freshmen, is to try new stuff, because we're a perfectionist field. We don't like to not be perfect. You know, we don't necessarily like to try new things and not be good, because it's been a long time since they weren't good at what they do, right? And yeah, try something out. Join the Hispanic Caribbean ensemble, or, you know, like if maybe you're a vocalist, but join the conjunto and learn to play bass in the conjunto, or learn
Yeah.
to play guitar in the conjunto. It's like not that many chords, you know. Try something new. Both here in the Butler School, but across campus too.
Yeah, we've got so
You
much
know,
going on.
there's so much on this campus, so many opportunities, so many cool things. Make some space for yourself.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
goes by so fast.
It really does.
Yeah. At the start, you feel like it's going to last forever. Then you blink and it's over.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
cool.
that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. So, anything else?
Not that I can think of right now. I appreciate you
Yeah.
taking
Well,
the
thank you for
time.
sitting down.
Thank
yeah.
you.
And we'll have to do this
Thanks.
again next summer to
Absolutely.
see
Thanks
what's
so
changed.
much.
Yeah.